So if Prometheus is the Phantom Engineers of the Alien series, this is the Attack of David. Alien Covenant, directed by Ridley Scott, the man that directed the 1979 Alien film and directed the prequel Prometheus. Now, this movie takes place after Prometheus, sometime after, and in this movie you have a ship called the Covenant flying through outer space carrying a human crew and an android named Walter, played by Michael Fassbender. The ship gets hit by a storm or solar flare or something, and the crew are forced to wake up out of cryo sleep. The captain of the crew dies, played by James Franco. He dies, and Billy Cudrup's character, Oram, is promoted to captain immediately. They get a transmission from a nearby planet of a song, one of John Denver's songs, and they want to go down and investigate, find out why there's a radio transmission coming down from this planet and find out what's going on. This planet does have oxygen, so it is habitable to walk on and to walk around without space masks, even though that's a stupid idea. Let's do it anyway. So they go down to this planet, even though they are supposed to go to another planet that's 7 light years away, but they don't want to get back into their cryopods, and they figure this planet, it's easier to get to because it's right next door. They figure they don't have to go back into cryo sleep, so let's go down to this planet. And when they get down there, they meet up with the android from Prometheus, David, also played by Michael Fassbender, and some bad things happen. We meet up with some xenomorphs. They step around on these spores that bring up a little bit of particles that go into one astronaut's nose, and another one has these particles going into the astronaut's ear, and bad things start to happen, and we have our Alien movie. Now, I wanted to see this movie because I like the Alien franchise. I love the first 2 movies. The 1979 Alien film is a fantastic horror film, and the film that came afterwards, Aliens, that James Cameron did, is an awesome sequel, horror/action, that really does a good job with the xenomorphs and really catapulted Sigourney Weaver's career. And I was hoping this movie was going to be a good film and a good addition to the franchise, and was going to help answer some of the questions that was left over from the Prometheus movie. But unfortunately, it doesn't really do that, and a lot of the essential character development is not in the movie. It's in deleted scenes that you find on YouTube in the advertisements for the film, which is stupid to have essential scenes that have character development as advertisements instead of as part of the film. That is just dumb. Let's talk about the positives of this movie. Michael Fassbender is awesome playing 2 androids. He does a really great job playing Walter, who is an android that is very curious and does seem very much like a human being, but you can tell that he's an android. And then you have David, who's also an android, but his personality is much different than Walter's personality is. And he's very manipulative and everything. And there's one scene where him and Walter are talking, and David has a flute that he shows to Walter, and I was wondering, is he like the Pied Piper or something? And then you have Danny McBride in this movie, who plays a guy from the South called Tennessee. So I'm guessing he's called Tennessee because he's from Tennessee. And he's great in this movie. I really did like him in the film. And Catherine Waterston plays the Ripley Light character. Her character's name is Daniels. She's the second command under Billy Cudrup's character. And of course, she's the one protesting to not go down to this planet. And of course, if they would have listened to her, this stuff would never have happened. But of course, they don't listen to her, and bad stuff does happen. And of course, if they didn't listen to her, we wouldn't have our Alien movie. So they have to make stupid mistakes in this film. This movie is just not good. It is such a disappointment. The fact that a lot of the character development that is needed in order to get connected to these people is in deleted scenes is stupid, because not everybody's going to see these deleted scenes before they go see the movie. A lot of people are going to go into this movie not seeing these advertisements like The Last Supper or the Prologue or the Prologue Crossing, which have important information in order to connect the dots between Prometheus and Alien Covenant. And they're going to be so confused when they go into seeing this movie. And I don't understand how people can like this movie without this essential information. What the heck? How can you like this movie? This movie's terrible. The aliens in the movie do look pretty good, and the cinematography looks pretty good, but the character development necessary to get connected to these people is not there without watching these deleted scenes. And that's so stupid that these scenes are deleted. And Catherine Waterston being an Ellen Ripley-like character is just so stupid. I understand that's a cliche and a trope of the Alien franchise, that the hero of the movie is usually a woman, but Catherine Waterston really doesn't do that good of a job playing a Ripley-like character, really. And then you have the ending of this movie, which is so predictable. You can see it a mile away of how this movie's going to play out. And the fact that a lot of this crew do very stupid mistakes, like walking around on this planet without space masks on because the oxygen is breathable and it appears to be habitable, but you don't know what's on this planet, you don't know what's going on, so it would have been much smarter to walk around with space masks. It might have been cooler if they're walking around with space masks and maybe a rip happens within the space mask, and that's how the air particles from the spores get into them. That might have been a much cooler idea. It would have made them look actually more smarter rather than walking around without space masks. Having them walk around without space masks is stupid. And just the way that the face hugger gets onto one of the crew members, and then you have the chest burster coming out. The gestation is not the same as it was in the first Alien movie. The first Alien movie, the gestation takes a little while, but in this movie, the gestation is much quicker, and that just takes away from the intimidation of the xenomorph that comes out later. It would be so much better if you had lengthened out the gestation of the chest burster. Now, you also have back bursters in this. You have aliens that come out of the person's back in a couple of them, which is pretty cool. But really, this movie is just not good. And when you find out how this ties into the 1979 Alien film, I mean, it doesn't connect all the dots, but it does help connect some of the dots. But at the same time, it still brings up some more questions. And you know that's going to bring up some more films to answer these questions. And chances are, as far as the deleted scenes, there's probably going to be an extended cut that's going to have these deleted scenes pieced in somehow. And that's just stupid. That's just a cash grab. So overall, this movie is just not good. I really didn't like this movie once I saw all the deleted scenes on YouTube after I saw the movie, and it really infuriated me. But there are some good positives to this movie, so I'm going to give this movie a D As in, I didn't like this movie, and chances are, when I make my worst list at the end of the year, I'm probably going to put this movie on there somewhere. I'm going to skip the dishonorable mentions and just put this movie on the worst list as far as whether or not this is going to go on dishonorable mentions, even though this movie does get a D. I am just so upset of how they made this movie, because this really pisses me off that even though the monsters in this film do look very good, the way they made this movie just really upsets me. And that's all I gotta say for Alien Covenant.